What's up? It's Dr. William James here reporting to you. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the video. Today we're getting into Candace Owens. Candace Owens was recently let go from the Daily Wire. It is a company that Ben Shapiro co-founded. Um, Interestingly enough, this week, um, Candace Owens was on The Breakfast Club, and literally the day before she was let go from the Daily Wire, she was saying that Ben Shapiro didn't have the power to fire her. But the very next day, she was let go from the Daily Wire for anti-Semitic views, which is very interesting because the term anti-Semitic is referring to the Semitic people. Let me share my screen while we get into this. So, because it's important for people to know. So let's look at the Britannica. Okay, let's use a source, a definition. So, Semite, name given in the 19th century, the 1800s, to a member of any people who speak one of the Semitic languages, a family of languages spoken primarily in parts of Western Asia and Africa. The term therefore came to include Arabs, Akkadians, Canaanites, Hebrews, some Ethiopians, including the Amara and the uh, Tigurians and Armenian tribes. Okay, so I don't know why when we use the term anti-Semitic, it's only to refer to people of the Jewish faith or religion or ethnicity group, however you want to break it down. Saying something against Arabs or Muslims can also be anti-Semitic, but you never hear that used. It's only used to refer to people who are Jewish. So that in itself shows some unfairness, some oppressive nature. Um, because again, think about how often you hear the term anti-Semitic when there's Arabs or someone from West Asia or Africa, um, or Ethiopia, or something like that. Some other group that falls under Semites. How often do you hear it referred to as anti-Semitic when they are somehow critiqued? It's only when you refer to people who are Jewish. So I find that very interesting. But just over the years, there's been several things that Candace Owens has done that's been very detrimental. Her ignoring the black plight is it's got her like ostracized, and a lot of people in the black community don't want to deal with her, and I can see why. There are some things that I agree with Candace Owens about. In particular, when we talk about the trans community, I agree with her. When she talks about agendas being pushed on the black community, there are certain things that are pushed. I can agree with her with that. Basically, when she's talking factual, I can agree with her. When she's not being objective and she's involved in her emotions and she's, um, just doing, I guess, what she's paid to do, or what she was getting paid to do was push an agenda. I can't agree with her. So let's look at a clip, so I can show you what I was talking about. When she was critiquing Breonna Taylor's death, she was just, wrong. She was just judging Breonna Taylor. She claimed that Breonna Taylor was selling drugs, which she wasn't. Let's look. Let's listen.
Nothing that they told us about this case was true, and shot her while she was asleep. All of it a lie. Not even one part of it's true. Not one piece of that was true. If we're hanging in the wrong crowd, doesn't matter. If we're actively helping our boyfriends move drugs, which is what Breonna Taylor was actually doing, okay? Trailing her, that her.
No, she wasn't. And I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you her own ex-boyfriend, because it's the ex-boyfriend. It wasn't even her current boyfriend. He admitted that she wasn't. But let's see what else she says. She's saying that Breonna Taylor was selling drugs. No, she wasn't.
Her name was on the warrant when they showed up at her place. It was not
Because it's Breonna Taylor's house. Her name is on the warrant because it's her apartment. How can you access someone's location? How can you access a residence without the person's name on the warrant who lives there. The ex-boyfriend no longer lived there. So like that wouldn't even make sense. Okay. They raided another location where the ex-boyfriend was the same night. But the ex-boyfriend didn't even live there. Breonna Taylor was not a drug dealer. And that's the thing. How come Candace Owens has never come forward and said, "Okay, I was wrong," referring to I was wrong when I spoke of Breonna Taylor. She's never said that. She's never recanted. I haven't seen the video. I would love to see the video where she says, Breonna Taylor was not a drug dealer. Um, that was a mistake. That was prejudgment. These are the things that she does, often referring to the black community when things happen. You can't undermine these deaths when we don't see similar situations happening with other racial groups, but then it happens to a black woman, and you find ways to undermine the situation and the severity of the situation. Okay. So let's just look at the facts. All right. So Candace Owens claims she was knee deep in criminal drug dealing activities with her ex boyfriend. Taylor, who has no drug offenses on her record, shared her apartment with her younger sister, Janiyah Palmer. Neither Taylor nor Palmer has a history of drug offenses. Taylor's boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, that was the current boyfriend who was there with her that day, did not live in the apartment according to the address listed on his arrest citation. He also has no history of drug offenses, and Walker was not named in the search warrant. So the boyfriend was not named. The current boyfriend was not named in the search warrant. The search warrant for Taylor's home includes her street address, apartment number, and photos of her apartment door, which the police later broke using a battering ram. In addition to listing Taylor's name, birthday, and social security number, the warrant included the names of the narcotics investigation's main targets. The main targets: Jamarcus Glover, Taylor's ex-boyfriend, that's who Jamarcus Glover was, and Adrian Walker, who has no relation to Kenneth Walker, her current boyfriend. So it's Breonna Taylor's apartment. So her name is on the warrant. It lists Taylor's name, her birthday, her social security number, and Jamarcus Glover, and then Adrian Walker. So they had to list her name on the warrant because it's her apartment. Okay. Um, but Jamarcus Glover didn't live there. Neither did Adrian Walker. In January, Glover, who had past drug trafficking convictions in Mississippi, was among 3 men charged with trafficking and weapons offenses after police received a tip from a confidential informant that they were hiding drugs and firearms in abandoned homes adjacent to a trap house they allegedly operated at an Elliott Avenue address in Louisville. Okay, so um, Glover, who was out on bail from earlier charges, was arrested at the house in a simultaneous raid the night of the Taylor killing on March 13th. But it is clear Breonna Taylor was not knee deep in drugs. She had aspirations to be a nurse. Um, she wasn't a drug dealer. There's no proof of her being a drug dealer. There's no proof that she aided in drug dealing in any way. I would love for Candace Owens to show the proof, if you're going to say that, while this young lady was killed. Okay. So that's the issue that many um have with Candace Owens. When it gets down to speaking about, Ahmaud Arbery, um, George Floyd, and other black people, Breonna Taylor, who have lost their life, she tends to focus on things that are not really related to the incident, or they're just not rooted in fact. I remember when she was talking about George Floyd, she was talking about events that took place prior to the day that he was killed by having, a knee on his neck for 9 minutes and 30 seconds, which is not sort of, which is irrelevant to the matter, to the facts. So um, now she seems to be talking a little bit more differently, but it doesn't change her history. She needs to, recant. She needs to revisit, some of the things that she said and really own up to her wrongdoings. Um, But I think she's getting a dose of her own medicine now. You can let me know what you think. Do you think Candace Owens would have been fired from the Daily Wire if she was a white male? Or do you think it wouldn't matter? Um, do you think she wouldn't, or do you think she would? I think she would still have her job if she were another Ben Shapiro. But you can let me know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe, share the video. Peace.